There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
A great white shark was stolen.
Oh, someone stole a shark?
I got stuff for you don't even know about.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Who knows? Anything could be possible. Anything could be possible.
It's really big abduction vibes.
Holy moly.
It sounds like you were abducted.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
Welcome back to Cryptids the Corn podcast. I'm the great and powerful Mystery.
And I am just Jay today.
Don't believe that.
I am.
We're on to Peighton part 2, but before we get in that, we got to do all of our announcements. Paranormality Magazine, we're affiliates. Use code CORN. Crew, if you buy anything from us, we get a kickback. YouTube, check out our YouTube. The first documentary is out on the YouTube. The second one will be coming soon.
Coming soon.
Other shows, we have other podcasts that we produce and we do. Everything from DW Conspiracy Shack, which is all things conspiracy, JFK, all of that. I'm trying to think of what the other ones.
We never, even though we just realized they never covered that yet.
Birds Aren't Real.
Yeah, that one just came out.
All kinds of crazy stuff. And then Freaky Fauna Friday, which is the best show ever.
That's right. Get to it, people.
Yeah, get to it. The P.O. Box is P.O. Box 75, Ada, Ohio, 45810. And that is ADA, Ada.
It's in the show notes below.
It's in the show notes.
If you feel so inclined to send us some fun art or a nice letter.
Stickers for the new bus.
Or stickers for the new bus.
Wait, need to cover that whole back wall in stickers.
That'll be fun.
Anyways, if you're coming to a show, let us know. This weekend is Cryptid Con.
Woo! I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm already drunk.
Oh, no. On life.
Yeah. That is probably...
What's in that coffee over there?
Irish.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're going to contact us, best way is email. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get to the new reviews. Stephanie says, great episode, guys. And then they have a question. She says, with Joel no longer being a part of Kill the Mockingbirds, will the floating mushroom episodes end?
Oh, no.
So, yes, there will be no more floating mushrooms. Not to anybody's fault or anything like that. Just, it just is not going to work out. But there may be new stuff. I don't know if anybody's noticed or not. I don't know. We'll see. There may be new stuff. I don't know.
Maybe
nothing.
I think a thread of the spirit of floating mushroom. There's a common thread that may live on that just cannot be destroyed or killed.
Next one, Johnny Carter. This is, I'm going to guess for you because I don't understand it.
Uh-oh.
Once you realize that all of this is a biosphere created for us, you realize that there is nothing unnatural or supernatural. There is comfort in that.
It's so true. It's so true, Johnny. Great minds think alike, and I agree with you.
AK says, more cowbell.
Oh, we need more cowbell.
AK, just so you know, posted this about 9 times.
Really?
I just picked the one.
He posted more cowbell 9 times?
On all kinds of episodes.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't do a Christopher Walken. I about did a Ray Romano.
As the Rum Man 2020 says, title, good podcast. Maybe more episodes like the Dragon episode or Spiders of the Congo. Those are the ones y'all do the best. I really don't like listening to the others. Or I really like you guys and hope y'all can get back to what you're best at. Well, thank you.
Okay.
I like those episodes too.
Yeah, those are great. I guess what specifically about those are different from our other ones?
No idea. I just do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then you just sit there.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just on board.
Patreon, the new Patreon members. Squatchy Bobcat, welcome.
Welcome to the club, the Corn Cult.
And A-Right is, I think, how to pronounce this name.
Who?
It's AYRIQHT.
Okay.
But I think it's just A-Right.
Okay.
I think it's like a weird way to write it.
Write it, yeah.
they are on the Patreon and on the Discord page now. So tell me if I mispronounced your name.
All right. Welcome to the Corn
Welcome.
Cult. You will be initiated soon, yes, by the flap.
So Peyton's submission has a little bit of audio hiccups every once in a while. So I'll fill you in. I asked her, like, kind of to fill us in. Basically, with the end of the flies last week.
Yeah.
And the start of this, saying something about a cat, is that she put up salt lines at the doorways of the house, and all the flies stopped.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe all the cat information is going to be coming, but the cats started acting kind of weird.
With the salt lines?
Like, just in general with the house. So we're going to listen to several more of Peyton's, and then Peyton has more after this that she submitted, but we're probably going to take a couple weeks off because we have some more of the submitted ones and mix them in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ready to get back into it?
Yep. And if you haven't listened to last week's episode, please jump back.
Yeah.
Listen to last Wednesday's with Peyton's part 1.
Yep.
And now we're starting Peyton's, I guess this would be part 2.
And I was like, yeah, why didn't you tell me? I was like, what's your dream about? And he's like,
Her husband had a
well,
weird dream.
we were sleeping in our room, and in my dream, I had woken up and looked out. We had been keeping our bedroom door open because if not, the cats would just try and break into the room all night long. And it sounded like somebody was like beating down the door. So he's just like, we'll leave the door open. It'll be fine. He had said, like, in his dream, he had woken up and looked at the door, and you can see into, like, we don't have a hallway. We have like a landing, and on the other side of the landing is our stairs. And he said that he looked out, and a Ring, the movie The Ring, looking lady crawled up the stairs, stood up, stared at us, and as soon as he like acknowledged that he could see it, she like got on all fours and like crawled to the edge of our bed. And he said at that moment he like jolted awake. So I'll continue in part 6. Jeez. So my husband tells me this dream, and I was like, why in the heck do you, one, remember dreams? He's terrible at remembering dreams unless they're like weird. He's had this dream about a windmill like 3 different times where him and his friends are like going through a forest or they're playing paintball or something. And it's like, if you take a putt-putt golf windmill but make it huge and it's like abandoned and creepy, he said the dream's in grayscale. But normally he doesn't remember dreams at all. And he's definitely not able to tell me weeks after having it. So it's odd for him to remember this dream to begin with when he woke up, but to be able to tell me about it later on. I had remembered a couple weeks before he had asked me if we could start sleeping with the bedroom door closed. He had told me that the cats were jumping on him at night and it was bothering him. So if we could just keep the door closed. And I was like, oh yeah, the cats do bother me at night. So I guess, yeah, we could do that. He said the back porch light we keep on all the time because the light switch for it's in our basement, and that's too much work to go in the basement every day and turn it on and turn it off. Since we work second, we need it when we get home. Well, so we just keep it on all the time. And there's a window at the end of our stairs, and the light's right outside of the window, so that it shines up, and you can see everything. Which is why he could see her, because the light from the window at the bottom of the stairs was shining up, and he had said she was like a completely black. And I waved around with a little broom type thing to get the smoke through the air. And I just say, unwelcome spirits, you are not welcomed here. and you go in every room and you say it in every room and you cross the doors and cross the windows and the door frames on the inside of your house, and leave it at that. And then she said I might want to start doing that. So I went to my local, they call it a witch's shop, but it's like crystals and like incense and, like sage, cedar, rosemary, thyme. I got Palo Santo, because on my father's side, my father's Hispanic and his side of the family is Hispanic. So I was like, yeah, I'll start using Palo Santo. And so I started burning it in the house, and that's when all the stuff at work started happening. So I guess I'll finish my work story. You could see her walking back and forth when she was there. So she had gone back to First in November, mid-November. So I was still getting used to her not being there. But out of the corner of my eye, I could see somebody walking back and forth. I could see the shadow of their feet and their legs through the line. And I'd look up to talk to her and say something, and there'd be nobody there, and I'd have to go, oh, that's right, she's back on First. But then why, like, what am I seeing? I don't know.
So like I said, there was a couple audio issues with the file so far, and we'll continue with that. I just wanted to say, she was talking about, I believe, like smudging the house.
Yeah.
Is what she was talking about with this other person. That should be the only big audio hiccup we have for this episode, but just saying.
Yeah, it just went blank. There was a gap. Do we want to address some of the stuff?
Yeah, go ahead. I know you had stuff before you went with the work story. So the work person's pacing, just remember that.
Right, yeah, which was, we kind of left off at part 1, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Or is that where that ended? But talking about her, them seeing the figure, he had the dream. Mm-hmm. And I wrote down like just having those reoccurring dreams. Have you experienced that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. And it's like almost like you go, like she said, his was that windmill. Like I have some that like I'd always go to like this place, and it was always weird. Like it was always some weird place. And when you sit down and think about it, it's like, okay, this obviously isn't rooted in like our reality, this place, but it's a place where I've dreamed about, multiple times that you just, it seems like random. You go back to them, and it's odd how like, yeah, those are the ones you, and I also wrote down like remembering dreams. It's odd, like kind of sometimes you remember dreams like it was like it really happened, a real memory. Like you can remember a lot of the details, and then other times you can't remember. The moment you wake up, you can't remember a thing. And then the more you try to think about it, the more and more you lose it, and then it's gone. You can't even remember what you were thinking about. Those are, I think, a lot of things that everybody, I feel, experiences for the most part, but isn't really spoken about too much, where you get that experience of like a dream had a whole bunch of like imagery or a lot of memories tied into it. But then when you try thinking about it, it's just like escapes, and you remember less and less and less. And within like a minute, you can't remember even a thing what you were dreaming about. But man, was it so vivid when you were dreaming it. It's weird and odd, and I don't know how that plays in the part, but it does sound like too he was experiencing some sort of like sleep paralysis type in not behaviors, but symptoms is what I kind of took it as far as feeling the thing, sitting on the edge of the bed or crawling up onto the bed, he said. Was it just the cats and you're dreaming and your mind kind of fills in the gaps, or the figure that they claim to be seeing, that dark figure? That's frightening. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Ready to keep moving?
Yep. So back to the work story.
Yep.
Every time somebody from First comes to Second and goes back to First, this phenomenon happens, where I'll be working on one side and I'll be working, polishing the locks. You can't really look away because if you do, you could turn yourself into hamburger on the industrial sanding belt. But out of the corner of my eye, I could always see, feet walking. So I'd look up to say something like, "Hey, do you need me to grab this?" Or, "Hey, how are you doing?" Or, "Hey, 2 more hours to go before we get to go home," something like that. And there'd be nobody there, and I'd have to remind myself, like, "Oh yeah, that's right. They're back on first, or they're not here today, or they're on vacation," and it would always creep me out. Had another experience where, it was just me and 2 other people on second. I had moved over to that other side of the line where I was running the robot. So now nobody was working on the side I'd been previously on. So I didn't see the feet anymore. But it just so happened that day nobody else was there. So I can't run the polisher by myself. For safety reasons. There had actually been people that have had heart attacks, and they don't want you working over there alone in case you fall forward onto that belt, because it will split you in two. So if you're by yourself, you're not allowed working on it. So I was over at a different area. It was really, really weird. It was February. My parents were on vacation, and my little brother was with them. And my little brother's nickname is Bub, B-U-B. And so they're in Florida. I hadn't heard from them this day. I didn't think it was anything weird until I got a text from a number I didn't have. And the text said, "Hey, your brother Bob is in the hospital. He had an accident. You need to call the hospital and you need to go and see him." And so I'm trying to text, I'm at work, so I can't get on my phone, but I read this message and I started freaking out. I was like, well, maybe, it's the other people that my parents are on vacation with. I don't have their numbers. Maybe it's one of their numbers because it's our area code that had texted me. So when it came to break, I had called my mom and I was freaking out. I was like, "Are you guys okay? Like, is everything all right? Are you guys at the hospital? I got a text that somebody was in an accident and they were in the hospital. Bub was in the hospital." And my mom was like, "No, we're fine. We were out fishing today. Nothing happened. Everything's okay. What's the phone number?" So I told her the phone number, and she's like, "Well, I don't know that phone number." And so I just politely texted the number. I was like, "Hey, I'm really, really sorry. I don't have a brother named Bob," because that's what they had texted me. Bob was in the hospital. So I thought maybe the people that my mom was on vacation with, they just, had a typo and put Bob, or autocorrect changed Bub to Bob on accident. But I texted her, I'm really, really sorry. I think you have the wrong number. I don't have a brother named Bob. But I do send, my best wishes to him. But I did start worrying after that, what if something did happen to my parents, all at once, my mom, my dad, and my brother. That's all of my family, immediate family, that is. If something happened to them while they are in Florida, I can't go and get to them. I don't know what to do. I'm 25, but like, I'm just a kid. Like, I don't know how to deal with any of that stuff. And I was like, thankfully I was working by myself, because like I got myself so worked up. I started crying really hard. My grandparents had just passed a couple months beforehand in October. This happened in February. I don't have anybody. So if something did happen to my parents and my brother, I can't take care of my brother by myself. I can't take care of my parents if they need, long-term medical care, like home care. I can't do that by myself. So I've got myself worked up. I'm crying. Thank goodness I'm by myself, so none of my coworkers can see me, because I am literally blubbering like a baby. As this happens, I have anxiety, I have depression, I take medication, but sometimes if I get in my head, like something's going to happen, just thinking about the future, when my parents are gone, if my husband passes or my brother passes, and I get in this really, really bad, like, tailspin state of mind, like, I feel emotions, especially sadness, very, very heavily. If something sad happens on the TV, Bailey makes fun of me, my husband makes fun of me, if somebody's crying in a movie, you can bet your sweet bippy that I'm, on the couch crying as well. He believes it's really funny, because I cried in the Spider-Man movie, and he had to, like, he always has to carry tissues or something when we're in the movie theaters. He'll get extra napkins and he'll hand them to me, because if somebody in there dies or somebody else is crying, I'm crying. So I'm bawling my eyes out at work, and I was just getting way too worked up. Like, I was about to, like, set everything down and go take a real hard cry in the bathroom and go talk to Bailey on the other side. And, like, I was thinking about leaving work early because I just could not calm myself down. And it's a little emotional for me. Out of nowhere, I could smell my grandmother's perfume. She always liked Chantilly lace perfume. She'd get that for Mother's Day every year from, one of her family members or a couple. So she had tons and tons of it. And it's a specific smell that only people that like Chantilly lace wear. So it's not like a normal Bath and Body Works smell or air fragrance freshener smell. I'm the only woman working there that night, and I'm the only one on my half of the building that's working there. And I could smell this perfume right behind me, and I knew it was Chantilly lace. And I just felt like this warm, like, hug behind me, which is really weird because the air conditioner is right above me, slash the heat, but it makes a noise when it turns on, and it wasn't on at the time. And, like, right as I smelled that, my tears went away. I felt a lot better. I was a lot thinking about those terrible thoughts anymore. And then it hit me, like, what the actual F was that, because, nobody's over here. Nobody walked behind me. The cleaning girl called off that day, so it wasn't her. Bailey wasn't around me. Bailey also doesn't wear Chantilly lace. So, like, I just started texting Bailey, like, there's a lady's perfume over here. What the F is going on? I swear on my life that it smelled like grandma. And because he would call my grandma too. We've been together for 10 years. So at that point, she adopted him as, like, a grandson. I was like, I swear, like, you need to come over here, because I swear I'm going crazy. So he comes over and he's like, yeah, I can smell something like a lady, like perfume, but it's, like, fading. So the smell is fading, like she had just been there and had walked away. And he was like, well, that's weird. You're the only one working over here. The cleaning lady's not here. I didn't just walk through. And I was like, well, did Jeremy or Travis, the other his coworkers just walk through? He was like, no, I haven't even made my rounds to lock the doors yet. But I guess since I'm over here, I'll do that now. So it was really weird, but it made me feel a lot better. I was able to, pull myself out of that, hole that my own mind had put myself in. it really did feel like my grandmother had momentarily came to reassure me, it's okay. They're fine. You were able to get through. My grandma and my grandpa, they passed away on the same day. While Bailey and I were on our honeymoon, so we got the call at 6 a.m. that my grandfather had passed away. And within the hour, we were packed up, checked out of the hotel, and on the road, driving as fast as we could from Pigeon Forge back to our home. We made it there by right after 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. Sorry. I was a blubber. She's calling for you, and I could hear her in the background. And Bailey and I, we were able to get there and say our goodbyes and visit with her for a couple of hours before she did pass. But just going through, going through that was really, really, really hard on us. Both my husband and I, and the rest of our family, our grandparents were the rocks and the pillars of our family. And we didn't expect them to get sick. They had the vid, and they were doing, not great, but then 2 weeks before our wedding, my grandma went into the hospital, and then 2 days before my wedding, my grandfather went into the hospital. They couldn't keep their oxygen levels high enough to be released on time. And then it was downhill after that, pretty much. But that smell and that warm presence behind me, it reminded me that, we've been through a lot, and we came out okay afterwards and on the other side. And so if something horrible like that happened again, that we were strong enough to be able to get through it. And there are other stories that I have. They're more of after my grandparents' passing, I started looking more into spirituality instead of Christianity, and what gifts I had spiritual wise, and the next few are about that.
Wow.
That was, well, just want to say thank you,
That's hard.
Peyton, for sharing that very personal story. Man.
Let's go back to the earlier thing with...
Yeah, there's a lot to
the text.
reflect on.
The text with saying, like...
Bob, there was a Bob that, yeah. Man.
What'd you think about that?
So, I mean, it could be a crazy coincidence where, you get those random texts, just wrong number, it happens all the time, which is weird enough in general, or was it something else, I don't know. Either way, if it was just a coincidence, what a freaking crazy coincidence. That's why I can almost chalk it up as like, it's probably not just a coincidence, but weird nonetheless. But enough to like to where it gets her, and like she said, she's a pretty emotional person to begin with. So with that on top of it, to put you through that roller coaster, that's I don't even know what to think of that. I don't know really what to put my finger on it.
And there were several audio gaps, that we had to splice around.
Right, yeah.
But
which is weird too. On top of this,
I don't know, because we've never had any other problems. It could be anything. I don't know about the text.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird.
And she's like she said, it's really weird how close. Let's say it was a coincidence. It's really weird how close Bob is to Bub.
Yeah. Like very easily could have been interpreted, as a autocorrect, like she said. Like that went through my head, and then she said it. I'm like, yep, that's what I was thinking. Or it could just be some crazy coincidence that someone sent a random text to the wrong person, wrong number or something by accident. But I wonder if, because she sent a reply message, did they ever reply? I don't remember her saying that. I don't think they ever replied back saying like, "Oops, sorry, wrong number."
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And
so
then
either way, that's weird. But then that culminating into where it built her up emotionally, to where she was having a tough time even thinking about it, like handling it, and then to be calmed down by that smell.
Now I got a little emotional last night previewing this because that's happened to me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That exact thing with my great grandmother's perfume. It was the powder perfume. I can't remember who it was. What
the brand
Yeah.
or the scent or
but so several really emotional hard times in my life. It's been around me, like a very thick smell of that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe in ghosts per
Right.
se. The
Right.
true, the human souls get stuck here or whatever. I do think that these are special circumstances that allow your past loved ones. They just give you something small to say you're not alone.
It's like just a little sign.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Mhm.
You're not alone in this.
Mhm.
I do think that's what's happening here. And she even felt, the almost like the feeling of something on her back,
Yeah.
like a positive. It scared her afterwards, but
Right. But
during,
it was calming in the moment, which is
Yeah.
what she needed, obviously.
yeah,
It's just, everything's alive around you. Maybe that's just a little indicator of that, like you said, you're not alone, that maybe your ancestral DNA is just like always there lingering to make sure you're staying on your path, or I don't know. It's a hard thing to really unpack or to break down, but there's something there.
and thank you, Peyton, for sharing.
Yeah. Oh, and it's something going through are we getting like with her grandparents passing away and stuff like that? Like, it sucks. I was there for
Both the same day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But for those older couples, I mean, that happens
often.
a lot. I
Yeah.
worked in a nursing home for a long time.
Yeah,
I can think of 3 times that's happened
right. Which
to where
I get why it happens too.
the woman hadn't even left they haven't even come to get her body yet, and he had passed.
Yep,
He went into the other room, sat in the chair, and was like, all right.
I'm done too.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's kind of a testament to human beings aren't meant to be alone.
Yeah, especially, I agree.
And when you find that other person, I guess, that, I don't know, that you just, you build a life together, and you're basically exist together, not as one anymore. You are both one. So when one goes, it's like half of you basically goes. So the other half checks out too. It's like, all right. But highly, yeah. I mean, like I watched my grandpa. Basically, he had cancer and stuff. So you watched pretty much him, not become himself anymore and slowly wither away is the best way I could put it. And the stuff he would say, like, oh, I wish I never did this or that, or his reflection. But then it was the after effect, after he was gone and all that. And then how my grandma's still dealing with it. It's still hard, but even she would tell me about little signs that she thought it was him. It's things she had never seen before. Like the one example I can give was she would say, like, she was on her back porch or just looking at her back window, and she's seen this little bird that she has never seen before and never seen since, but it flew down, perched right up on top of this bush right outside the window, like looked right at her. And she said it was a really, really pretty bird she has never seen before. And it had like this white, the pattern on it she'd never seen, and it was there for a few minutes, and it was just kind of staring in right back at her. And she didn't know what to think of it. She felt a little weird about it, even felt weird telling me, but she didn't know what to think of it. And then it flew away. And she even thinks it was like a sign, like a calming sign that she's still not alone. But it's very personal, emotional stories that don't really get told too often in a public sense. Most of this stuff stays within family or close friends, just conversation. So thank you, Peyton, for sharing all that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to add. It just is very emotional, and I think it's a thing that's experienced more often than not that people don't talk about.
Oh, 100%.
Especially perfume.
It's just scent in general.
I've heard cologne, perfume.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. And I think it's a good way to tell that. Here's my thing with ghosts. Is that a lot of ghosts want to interfere in your life, and this is not an interference. This is just no communication, nothing. It's just, hey, you're not alone.
It's all emotion.
Yeah,
like just feeling. It's all just like we say, calming.
Mm-hmm.
It knows how to calm those emotions, and we are all beings of emotion. How we interact with each other. It's all through emotion. Whether it's cold or it's anger or it's real nice or real positive, it's all emotion at the end of the day. And yeah, that's an easy and very quick way to communicate. So if you're going to be from like another dimension or on the other side, afterlife, whatever you want to call it, probably the quickest, most direct way is to communicate emotionally, just like whether it's calming, in positive ways, calming, nice emotions, or even in negative ways, scary, fear. Like either way, fastest way to make communication straight through emotion. And this is an example.
I have been the great and powerful mystery.
And I have been Jay.
And we'll catch you next week with more Cryptids of the Corn. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
Please share with a friend you think would like us. It's the best way to help our show grow.
Leave a comment, rate us, a 5-star review, and remember, there is always extra content on Patreon/CryptidsOfTheCorn.com.
And don't forget, stay magical.